guys, welcome to my channel. This is the first ever video that I posted in this channel or any other channel, so please excuse me if I have bad angles, bad lighting, or bad pronunciation, because there's a lot of hard pronunciation in further this video. So today we're going to talk about reincarnation, and specifically about Boriska, who claims that he's from Mars. So, general idea of reincarnation is where a person who is reborn in another body or physical form, which is very interesting. Reincarnation is so common. I wouldn't say it's common. I would say it happened a lot on Earth. That it's like a major in universities and stuff. People actually just like studies about reincarnation. So I think that is a topic where it's mainly commonly known by a lot of people. So reincarnation, in a general idea, like I said, it is a life. It's a life which is reborn into another body or a physical form. But if you Google search reincarnation, it will come out in Wikipedia, and it says reincarnation is a philosophical religious concept that the non-physical essence of a living being starts a new life in a different physical form or body after biological death. It is also called rebirth or transmigration, and is a part of samsara doctrine or cyclic existence. I didn't pronounce that right, I'm sorry, but this is what it says in Wikipedia, of course, in Google search. So let's further down into the story, mainly because I want to do this particular case mainly because the other day I dreamt about I was on another planet. It's not Earth and it's not Moon, and I met with like Mars people. Like in my dream I met Mars people. I asked them, obviously, and then they say like, oh, we're like the people of Mars, so where are you from? And I said, I'm from Earth, and they were like, ooh. So that is just like triggers me, like how there's life out there besides human, animals and plants. Like, it so fascinates me that there are more to life and more to this solar system in the entire universe, because even in Earth itself, there's only 5% of the surface water, if I would say, that's been discovered, and a lot more haven't been discovered. So there's a lot of things that just live out there, you know. So that made me believe that there's more to life. So as you can see from the title of the video, I'm talking about Boriska. So Boriska, his full name is Boriska Kipriyanovich. I didn't pronounce the last name right, but his name is Boriska. Boriska is the boy, or now a man, because this is so back then, like 2016, 15, some 5 years ago. There's a lot of like sources. He's probably like a grown man now, or young adult to be at least. He is an extraordinary boy from Russia who remembers his past life originates from Mars. So he claims that he was a Martians. Like we call ourselves Earthlings, you know? They call themselves Martians. So you might know, you might not know it, but children remember their past life is nothing new. It is so common in the scientific community, but it is a fascinating subject. So astrobiologists even acknowledge the fact that reincarnation deserves serious study, stating that children sometimes report details of a previous life which upon checking turn out to be accurate, and which they could not have been known about in any other way of reincarnation. I would like to do more reincarnation video in the future. Like, there's a lot reincarnation stories. Like, it is so accurate that it's like proven. Like, okay, imagine this girl remembers exactly which city she belongs, and when like their family go to a travel together at that certain city, she knows exactly where is where. Like, I know where the bakery is, I know where the post office is. It is so accurate, even though like there's no Google Maps in her head. She knew because her past life lives there. That is some real story right there. A typical reincarnation case described by Jim. Jim is a psychiatrist in University of Virginia, and Jim describes that subject reporting a past life experience. The interesting thing that 100% of subjects who report past life remembrance are children. Their average age when they start remembering is when they're 35 months, and sometimes it stops at like 7 to 8 years old, which I usually like. That's my common general idea. And their descriptions of event experience from their past life are often extensive and remarkably detailed. These children remember things that would be impossible to know about the family that claim that they have been taken to families, confirm address, professions, and various other details of life that people that they used to be. So if I will go furthermore about reincarnation, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of stories to it. I will do like probably more reincarnation video in the future, but this one is just the most the most fun one in my personal belief. So people think that there are like many paths after death. Like some people believe that they will be incarnated, some people believe they will like their souls will just like move around, and that's why we see ghosts and stuff. So there's a lot of possible paths for the soul, and one of it is reincarnation, as we've seen. Obviously in this case is reincarnation to another human. So yes, so if you want to if you want to watch an interview of Boriska being interviewed, you want to watch the interview, I'll link down below. But in between of this video, I will just put in some scene that where he speaks about the astronomy and galaxy and whatever he would live from Mars. So his early age is very fascinating, extremely fascinating if you ask me. So he's no ordinary boy. His mother says that he began speaking at just 4 months old. Speaking at 4 months old. Pronouncing full sentences shortly after. So Boriska is not a normal average boy. He is intelligent, smart, genius, say it all, sisters. So his mom states that he can speak at the age of 4 months old. Not 4 years, 4 months old. Not 4 days lah, of course not. And pronouncing full words shortly after. At 8 months old, he can speak in sentences, and at the age of 2, he can read. Sisters, when I say he's intelligent and genius, I say genius. He became quite a celebrity at where he lives, obviously Russia in this case, for being so smart. And when he turned 3 years old, he could name all the planets in the solar system, how many galaxies there were, and a lot more mostly about the universe itself. He knows so much about astronomy that would be impossible for a child of his age. This is like out of this world intelligence. It's a knowledge where your mom don't learn like, oh, this is Pluto, this is Mars, and what it is. It is so extraordinary. It's out of this world. Also, when in the interview, when if you just watch it at full length, he will explain about people of Mars. And well, in obviously that doesn't actually matter because he don't actually like describe in full details, but he also said that people from Mars travel in many galaxies and planetary system, which if you would describe it like Earth, Mars, they were having like diplomatic connection where they're like friends and they like travel here and there, like we would travel countries and stuff. So they travel in galaxies and planetary system, which is obviously they were advanced. Okay, so he also said there were ships of an airplane type which flies in the air. They were triangular. There were ships like a drop. So they were ships like a drop means it's like a ship carries other ships. If you watch Avenger, I don't remember which movie it was, but there's a ship which flies and carries other ship on top. So I just imagine it was like that. So it is powerful. He said that the ships use plasma power and ion power. We use gasoline. So he said if they use gasoline, the fuel ran out too fast. The engines were too powerful. Sis, if we use gasoline, diesel, kerosene, they use plasma power. Imagine the speed he was going for. That's very fast. He also talked about teleportation, saying that the portal is the same like teleport. It slows down time and opens a kind of portal where time is speeding up fast. I can't say exactly, I don't remember. It opens on one side and in a few seconds or even minutes, if the transfer is far away, it opens another area of space, which is similarly to teleport, where someone like enters from another portal and it opens another portal on like another area of space, which if you don't know what teleportation is, if you watch Big Hero where it features Baymax, you go into a portal and you come out from another portal in a different area. So that's what teleportation is. And he said not all ships had the same principle. Ships with plasma engines were limited to travel only in the solar system on high speed. The ships in the shape of a drop were carrying other ships, like I said. So it was like, you know, very big ships. Each race has its own technology and innovations. For example, if we had plasma and ion engines, others had energy engines, and we use gas. This is very advanced, sisters. He also spoke about other people from other planets, planetary corporations, and wars as well. He also spoke on people that still live on Mars, but who live beneath the surface and inside the planet. Like, they don't live on the surface. Like, if planet Earth will live on the surface, like, you can go into the atmosphere and onto the surface, but they live in the surface, but which I think I think they meant that they live in the core of Mars, something like that. So, and also he said they breathe carbon dioxide. This fascinates me a lot because you just think about it. Human, we breathe oxygen, O2. Yes. Also, we breathe air, of course. In air, there's a lot of composition. There's oxygen, there's carbon dioxide, there's nitrogen, and there's a lot of things else. But they breathe carbon dioxide. Plants breathe carbon dioxide. Technically not breathe through the nose, but do you get it? They breathe. Means like other living creatures, they live on like different composition of element. Like they breathe carbon dioxide, you know. What like we depending on other things to live on. So the interview is very detailed, and if it interests you, I will leave the link down below. And this is interesting mainly because not that he's just like talking, oh, we leave carbon on dioxide and stuff. This is proven by NASA, okay, about discovery about planet Mars. Oh, they call it Mars the red planet. And you know what, it is not red anymore, because the reason they call it the red planet, because it's just like rocky and it's just like solid rock and something. It is not now, because they have like a whole NASA page dedicated to this space program science experiment. So if you want to check it, I will also link it down below so you can read the whole archive of this coordinated science lab experiment. So NASA called for a press conference to announce the discovery about planet Mars. When they say in the meeting, why do I have like Malay accent? So during the meeting, they say that pretty shocking information, because what they thought were wrong. That's about it. So they were like changing facts now. They was like, we once thought about the red planet, that it doesn't seem so red anymore. They announced that Mars actually contains rivers of flowing water. Red means rock means there's no water, but now there's rivers of flowing water. That's like, NASA was mind blown. So what they believed to be an arid and rocky desert of a planet is actually seasonal, not unlike our own planet Earth. Which means, sisters, there was living being on the planet, and Boriska is not talking rubbish. This is real. So James Green, NASA Director of Planetary Sciences, he said Mars is not the dry, arid planet that we thought of in the past. Liquid water has been found on Mars. Obviously, with the announcement there was like water on Mars, the possibility of life near the surface becomes ever more plausible. The press conference also goes into more detail about the atmosphere and condition of Mars and how the planet could have supported life in the past, which NASA itself have like theories like there's people, no, not actually people, there's living being, living things on the Mars. They were like mind blown. So is me, so is us. So another NASA related person, he's the 5-time space flown astronaut. So Mr. John Grunsfeld said, we're going to Mars. Our journey to Mars is a science lab expedition right now, but soon I hope we'll be sending humans to the red planet to explore, and science will lead the way. And today's announcement of a really fascinating result about current water on Mars is one of the reasons why I feel it's even more imperative that we send astrobiologists and planetary scientists to Mars to explore the question of, is there current life on Mars? That is an interesting quote. He is a 5-time space-bound astronaut, and he said that is there current life on Mars. He also believed that there was and probably will have current life on Mars, and that is interesting. Don't you think like Boriska is just like, ooh, talking facts here? Because I think he is. So there's possibility of life in interior of Mars, obviously not exterior, but there's people have theories that there is life on Mars, and there's certainly water somewhere in the crust of Mars. It's very likely, I think, there is life somewhere in the crust of Mars. They were like cross-referencing Boriska at this point, and it's really real. And the 5-time space-blown astronaut, Mr. John Grunsfeld, he said, the more we observe Mars, the more information we're getting that it is really a fascinating planet. From the Curiosity rover, we know now that Mars was once like a planet very much like Earth, with long salty seas, with freshwater lakes, probably with snow-capped peaks and cloud and water cycle just like here we're studying it on Earth. Something has happened to Mars. It lost its water. So he also said that this goes on to discuss the high likelihood that Mars previously sustained life before whatever happened to the planet that led to its change in climate. So if you don't think climate change is real, watch Mars. Scientists are still struggling to work out what exactly the event or series of events may have been. They are predictors now. So let's continue. So this universe we live in is existed like nearly 14 billion years now. Are you sure? Are you sure? 14 billion years. Yo, that is old. So James Green, the NASA director, says Mars is a planet most like Earth, and in the past, Mars was a very different planet. It has extensive atmosphere, and in fact it has what we believe was a huge ocean, perhaps as large as 2/3 the northern hemisphere, and that ocean may have been as much as a mile deep. So Mars indeed 3 billion years ago had extensive water resources. You know what does extensive water resources mean? They have a lot of water. But something happened. Mars suffered a major climate change and lost its surface water. The scientists emphasized that fact something happened to cause climate change. And in the interview, Boriska also says that. Do you see the cross-reference here? Because I do. According to Dr. John Brandenburg, a plasma physicist PhD, life on Mars was eradicated by a nuclear war. He believes that a couple of intelligent civilizations from ancient history were responsible for this, and his published works argues that the coloration and composition of Martian soil points to a series of mixed fusion explosions that led to nuclear fallout on the planet. So Dr. John Brandenburg, he believes that Sidonians and Utopians is a two Martian civilization he made up were completely destroyed and as yet unidentified alien race. Brandenburg believes that evidence lies in the composition of Martian soil, which is coloration, composition is consistent with fallout from a series of mixed fusion explosions. I will write here fusion explosions. So he's not wrong, because the soil have high concentration of xenon 129 in the atmosphere. Should not be surprising, as it's commonly found substance. Brandenburg will not be convinced though. He says his theory is based on hard evidence using the photographs of Curiosity rover that we've already seen in ancient archaeology sites, and he believed that there was ancient civilization on Mars. So not only James Green, John Grunsfeld, the US Army Intelligence Commanding General, former general, he also said that there are structures on the surface of Mars. I will tell you that for the record that there are structures underneath the surface of Mars that cannot be seen by the Voyager cameras that went by in the 1976. I will also tell you that there are machines on the surface of Mars, and there are machines under the surface of Mars that you can look at, you can find out in detail, you can see what they are, where they are, who they are, and a lot of detail about them. This is from Richard Golden Press. So in conclusion, this Boriska boy, this is very interesting, because whatever he says about Mars is like in his head. It's not been like learned anywhere. Like the teacher doesn't teach him what he knew. Like that's so many things that cross-reference with what NASA said. And National Aeronautics and Space Administration says he wouldn't know that much of like a lot of things. Like, it's a space experiment program. There's a lot of things that's cross-reference with him. So yes, and there's like a whole page, like this description about the space program where they launch like planetary science, and there's a lot of details to it. The mission profile, they have like details about what they're doing on there. So I've watched the interview with Boriska, obviously not the whole way because it's 1 hour plus interview, and it's very hard to understand because it's in Russian. The language barriers is real. It's real, but I've read the comment section and there's a lot of like Russian who watch this and they comment in English, which I should understand. And like, there's a theory alert which blow my mind, which wow, is okay. Listen to this theory. What if the people of Mars destroyed the atmosphere? A group of them traveled to Earth to start a new life, and now their descendants have crossbred and evolved to almost human, but not quite human. Example, they are reptilian people, people with Rh negative blood, and other kind of subhuman species. Talking about Rh negative blood, Sister, if I would do a whole video about Rh negative blood, you'll be mind blown at how many people in the government right now, like 2019, there's people with Rh negative blood in the government. But sis, there's a lot of theory about these people. It is very interesting because we're all Rh positive blood, like O, A, B, AB, and all this blood. That's Rh positive, and most of us have that. Rh negative blood is so rare, and if you know where does it come from and who is have it now, you'll be mind blown. I would probably do a video about Rh negative blood, but whoa. So when these Martians landed on Earth, they would have all their technological advances and realized that human would not understand how to use it and understand it, so they hide all of this stuff in the Sphinx. This is the Sphinx. So there's a theory also about Sphinx that if you press a button behind the ears of the Sphinx for like answers, like a lot of it is like Illuminati questions. Like, they won't obviously answer the question of maths, but there's a lot of answers that we want to know about Illuminati is in the Sphinx. That is just a theory. But however, when they hide it in the Sphinx, to hide it for however long they need it, but still thought to themselves superior because obviously they're from Mars. But the thing about this theory, it doesn't make any sense because they were breathing carbon dioxide, so I was shook. That's why maybe they have Rh negative blood. There was a lot of things in this world that is not very make sense. So when they thought themselves was superior, they started a secret organization called the Illuminati. Notice the similarities around here. So now, the Mars people that came to Earth have gained too much power, trying to destroy Earth, much like former Mars. The planet itself was destroyed, so the people living under the surface of Mars are trying to visit and contact Earth to warn us about every time they would like send warning to us, we will just like change it to like hoax or like this is fake. Because you know why? Whoever that tells us hoax or fake, guess who? Is the government. And who tells us that it's that? The government. And who most likely to run the government is. So, well, there's mixed opinions on this theory. Opinions on reincarnation as well. So a person say reincarnation to a citizen of a planet, especially Earth, will have disadvantage. If I didn't say earlier, Martians can live 35 years old, not max. their age stops there, and basically they're immortal. So they won't die of old age, of like sickness, of something. Old citizens would have that, so they won't die. So if they live in planet Earth, they would die in like of old age. And if people of Mars reincarnated on Earth, imagine all the problems that they would have. So this concludes the video. I hope y'all like this topic that I choose for today's video. If you like this video, give it a huge big thumbs up down below, and comment what do you think about reincarnation. And also, if you have like ideas, like if you want to know more about this alien space related thing, comment down below on what do you think that I want to do next for my video. Subscribe and hit that notification bell for future videos, of course, and see you next time. Bye.